Going on in the NBA. I'm Rachel Nichols. Kendrick Perkins is going to join me momentarily. Adrian Wojnarowski is expected to join me soon. The Milwaukee Bucks are boycotting Game 5 of their series against the Orlando Magic. They did not come out onto the court to play. The Magic were out there warming up, then went back to their locker room. There was some confusion on the court, and eventually the officials left. They put the game balls away. This game is not happening. So, Kendrick Perkins, I want to get to you. This is, of course, in reaction to the shooting of Jacob Blake in Wisconsin. And this is personal from the Milwaukee Bucks. This shooting happened just about an hour south of where they play. And, of course, one of the members of their team, guard Sterling Brown, was a victim himself of police brutality just 2 years ago. The fact that they have gone to the step of boycotting this game, Perk, what comes to mind for you?
Was the message, and not only a message to America and not only a message to the world, but it's a message to Wisconsin that they will not stand for this, that they want justice. They want justice for him, and they want these cops to be, convicted. They want justice, and they're tired of it. And I strongly believe that it was a powerful move by the Milwaukee Bucks, being that this incident, like you said, happened in Wisconsin. So, I mean, kudos to them for standing for what they believe in. And Rachel, I'm just as surprised, and I have so many questions that I want answers to.
Like what, Perk? What are some of your questions right now?
Well, one is that, are they just sitting out just this Game 5? Are they leaving for the series? Are they done for the entire playoffs? Another question is that are the teams that were fouled or scheduled to play behind them, are they going to play today? Because here's the thing, right? If the Houston Rockets, the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Portland Trail Blazers decide that they are going to play, I don't want them to be frowned upon because they did choose to play and that Milwaukee did not. You see, that's the communication part where I would love for everyone to be on the same page. So that's my question. Are those teams have they decided whether or not they're going to play or not is a huge question for me.
Well, in some ways, that's the advantage for these players of being in the bubble together. Normally, these games would be happening in different parts of the country. And, of course, there's text messages and phones. But the fact that I was down in the bubble for 5 weeks, Perk, and I saw plenty of times where one player from one team would cross paths with a player from a completely different team, not even on purpose, and they would start talking often about these issues because this was one of the most important things to players as they got down into this bubble, how they were going to make their presence and their stand on these issues felt. And I saw it multiple times. I saw Chris Paul crossing paths with Donovan Mitchell, them getting into a conversation about it, and certainly as over the past 24, 48, 72 hours, this has all come more to the fold. More of these players have seen the video coming out of Wisconsin. It has been present on players' minds. We had the Celtics and Raptors having a team meeting talking about boycotting their game. Donovan Mitchell, in fact, standing up and saying on Twitter, "We demand change. Salute, Bucks." And he is not the only one. We also heard from Jamal Murray saying that he supported what the Bucks were doing, the young star from Denver. And you're seeing guys around the league. I do think, Perk, that there will be a lot of pressure on the Lakers and the Trail Blazers, on the Thunder and the Rockets to follow the Bucks' lead here. And that is the kind of good trouble, right, that we talk about, the idea that the NBA can make a stand.
Absolutely.
And of course, the NAACP also put a tweet out. They said, "Are you listening now?" which I thought was so interesting, the idea that the NBA players are leading the way on this in a space where many politicians are not listening to a lot of the people in this country right now. We're waiting for Adrian Wojnarowski to join us with the latest. He is down in the bubble. As we look forward here, Perk, one of the things that's been a problem for players as they have discussed this is figuring out what action points they would like. I know that they want police arrested in the Breonna Taylor case. I know that they want the policeman involved in the Jacob Blake case to be punished for what is going on with him and arrested, and that incident to be investigated more thoroughly. If you were a player in this situation, in this locker room, what would you be talking about an action point that you would want done next?
Well, it has to be a plan, Rachel. And if I'm in the locker room, I'm reaching to high power. you know, we've been protesting as African Americans for hundreds of years. I said this time and time again, and we have got the same results. So how can we have different results? I'm preaching that, you know, as African Americans, we act so much off emotions, and rightfully so, because we haven't been treated fairly. But what is going to actually solve the problem? What can we do to have a fix? And that's fixing the system. So like I said before, let's reach out and have these conversations with these owners that have relationship with these governors, that have relationships with these senators, would have relationship with people in Congress. Let's have these conversations. That's how we can make change. Let's promote voting. Voting, not just at the top, but voting from the very bottom, whether it's voting for mayors, whether it's voting for governors, not just for president, but voting all across the board. That's how we have change. And then we put in rules, you know, different rules. We take out unions in the police department. It's so many ways that we can make change. And I think, you know, we act off emotion, and I'm all in for however anyone want to fight the fight. But we've been protesting for hundreds of years, and we still haven't got change. We need to find a way to strategically come together and use our power with white Americans with power to speak to get our point across.
Yeah, that's so important. And look, athletes have access to billionaires. That is, guys who own these teams, they're not millionaires for the most part anymore. They are billionaires with a lot of political influence. And there's definitely been more of a conversation about players using that access and pressuring those owners, frankly, who sometimes do not put their dollars and support politicians who believe in the same things that the players who are playing for them and earning that money for them do support. I want to now go to Adrian Wojnarowski. Woj, we're so happy you can join us here. Can you describe sort of how things are developing down there in the bubble? What does it feel like as all of this is dominoing right in front of you?
Well, at the arena today where the Bucks and Magic were about to play their Game 5, the Magic came out on the court. They warmed up like they normally would for a playoff game. The first horn sounded. The Bucks weren't out yet. I got wind that they were discussing a boycott, and Malika Andrews was there on the scene. She could see league officials moving into or outside the locker room area. I'm told that even at the highest levels of the Bucks organization, they weren't. It wasn't clear to them that this was going to happen. This, I'm told, was a player's decision. They made this decision to boycott this game, and what the ramifications are now for the Bucks. They were leading 3-1 in the series. And so, but this is a moment in time, a moment in history. We have never seen this in professional sports.
Here develop as opposed to imposing any kind of discipline.
No, you're right, Rachel, and I think along those lines, the league has shown a lot of flexibility with these rules, including the anthem and what teams, virtually every player and every team, has knelt through the restart. There were not going to be any ramifications financially for any teams or players. It remains to be seen here. Just in talking to league officials here in the last few minutes, it's still unclear. You would presume that the victory would be awarded to the Orlando Magic. They were out to play. This wasn't a decision made by both teams to sit out. The Magic had expected to play, planned to play, and so, but the league has not yet ruled on that. But what we do know are that the Bucks decided to stay in their locker room and made a stand here that is going to reverberate not just around the NBA, not just around professional sports, but around this country and around this world. The best player, the league's reigning MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo, is a global basketball icon. And I would be very confident that this decision was made with him, very much in favor of it, given, his stature on that team. I'm sure he will speak about it here at some point, but a remarkable moment for the league, for the Bucks organization, and I don't think this is going to be the end of this story in Orlando.
Absolutely. And when you were coming on, Woj, you heard Perk talking about ownership and putting pressure on the owners. Fred VanVleet from the Raptors was the first person to really talk about a boycott yesterday publicly.